All right, here we go. Week 4, Sundays with Dad. Got to get an apology out of the way. We did not do a recap show midweek. It has been a week full of sickness.
Yeah, we kind of foreshadowed it in our show for week 3. And it's kind of taken full effect this week. I've kind of been basically bedridden since Tuesday. Only started to feel really better yesterday.
Yeah.
And as you can tell, my voice is shot.
Yeah, so forgive the sniffles, coughs, raspy voices. I thought I was getting it full-fledged on Wednesday night. Felt bad Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Actually feel like I'm starting to recover, but I still got a lot of symptoms going on.
Lucky.
No recap from last week, but I didn't get to watch too many games last week. Zeb, I happened to be down in Cincinnati for the Reds game, playing meaningful games in September for the Cincinnati Reds, so I'm pretty excited about that as a Reds fan.
Nice.
And had a very special sports moment down there. I'm walking out of the Holy Grail and run into Ring of Honor wide receiver Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco.
Yep.
I'm going to say we had a very intimate conversation. He pulled me in for a hug. I whispered a sweet hooday in his ear.
Oh, my gosh.
And he gave me a kiss on the cheek. Now, you might want to take my man card for that, but I'm telling you, as a fan, we're all fans here. You guys watching us talking here, man, that's a great fan moment.
I don't, honestly, for me personally, I wouldn't want to kiss on a cheek from a man. Maybe since I'm a huge fan of the WNBA, I'd like a kiss on the cheek from one of those girls.
It's like one bad dude, like James Harrison, kind of pulled you in.
No.
And you said,
I would kind of just lose all respect
I feel
for
like
James
Harrison would just like take a hunk out of your cheek.
I feel like he'd like bite my head off.
No, it was really cool. Really cool to see Chad out in the city, getting into the Bengals Ring of Honor on the Monday Night Football game, but did have a good moment with him. So I'm gonna get into some stats here, where we sit for the season. So Zeb, on his big 3 picks that he's been giving you every week, is 4-4-1. And you're thinking, that's okay, not that great. I want to compare Zeb right now to one of Fox's big guys, Colin Cowherd. Does a blazing 5 every week, and this just tells you how hard the NFL is. You know what Cowherd's record is on the season?
I do not.
It is 2-10-3. So if you're listening to Colin Cowherd, he'll probably come back from that. Historically, he's better than that. Versus Zeb Downs, I mean, it might help your wallet a little bit.
Come on, ESPN, where you at, bro? Give me a contract.
He's out of ESPN. He's on Fox now.
Oh, so, Fox.
All right, straight picks on the season. I would never have guessed this. I wouldn't expect it, and it'll probably turn around before the end of the year. I'm 29-19. Zeb's 26-22. No spreads.
This is my worst year ever. Like 10-6. I went 10-6 last week on my picks. That's like my worst that I go on like all the other years I do this, and I've gone 8-8 and like. Oh, my gosh. It's bad.
I think you're almost better against the spread this year than you are on straight picks if you go overall.
Literally.
So, real quick recap from last week. I got to give Zeb an opportunity right now because he was just he's been pooping all over the Browns all year. He's been pooping on their organization.
I have been.
The fans, the team. So I'm going to give you
I haven't pooped on the fans.
Now. Okay, no pooping on the fans.
The fans are all right.
All right, yep.
There's
got
a couple bad apples.
Browns fans.
There's a couple bad apples, but I mean the Steelers is like 85% bad apples, so like.
Yeah, there you go. I've met some obnoxious Bengals ones too.
Exactly.
Anyway, so you got something to say to the Browns?
Yeah, I apologize. I really didn't expect for you guys to actually like pick up the pieces and Deshaun Watson actually play decent against the Tennessee Titans. Of course, I kind of overestimated Ryan Tannehill's poopiness because he is really poopy. And of course the Browns defense was great. I expected that. And you know, I thought like there was still a possibility for you guys to win. I just thought like it'd be close, but clearly you guys are better than I thought, and I apologize. Now, I mean, you guys have been the opposite of what I've picked you now for 3 weeks, so
be careful with those Browns. Whatever he picks, just go the other way.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. So all your Browns fans, Zeb eating a little bit of crow on that game last week. Another game we got to talk about from last week. I mean, and we'll talk more about these teams here in a little bit. But what the heck, Miami, man?
I mean,
Is this like
dude,
Big 12 beatdown?
no, it's just the Broncos are so bad. And I mean, this is without Jalen Waddle. I mean, he was out for concussion, right? They have their second best playmakers out, and the Broncos still find a way to let them drop 70 on them. Like, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a defensive performance in my entire life that's worse.
Not in the
genuinely.
NFL.
Yeah,
not,
that's
not
what
in
I
my
meant.
lifetime. So
Yeah, I mean, dude. I mean,
good
not,
job, Sean Payton.
Goodness.
My fave. Loving some Sean Payton, Russell Wilson. 0-3. 0-3. Here's your chance this week, guys. You
Yeah,
got the Bears.
I'm gonna mention something because he's personally my one of my favorite players in NFL history. Is there time to put Drew Brees in the top 3 quarterbacks of all time, considering he won a Super Bowl with Sean Payton at this point?
Yeah,
Like, holy crap!
I am feeling you.
Like,
I am feeling
I
you.
mean, all right. First off, a statistic that I actually learned this week: 2012 Saints were statistically one of the worst defenses of all time.
Yeah.
Allowed the most yardage
Yeah.
of any defense of all time, right? We're seeing that now with the Broncos, that their defense has regressed heavily from a pretty solid defense last year, arguably top 10, top 5, to now they are, I mean, just abominable. They're terrible. Yep. And I mean, now it's kind of setting into effect all those bad Saints defensive teams.
Yeah. So, yeah, Sean Payton, nice job. You are who I thought you were. Keep it up. I hope you lose to the Bears this week. I really, really do. So,
Hit your ball.
One more thing from last week, 3 big upsets. Houston goes in and takes care of Jacksonville, and you said that's a game that Jacksonville might lose. I mean, you called it on the show last week.
Dude, Leopards don't change their spots.
Indy goes into the Ravens, which to me was like, wow. I just watched this Ravens team go into Cincinnati and get a big dub and watch Lamar Jackson play great.
This is what the Ravens
you said
do,
that's
man.
a sneaky game. Watch it. It's a sneaky game. You get some Minshew mania
baby.
going on with Richardson out with a concussion, and there you go. The Ravens should be a 3-0 team in my opinion. Right, sitting at 2-1 could be having a hand up in that division.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, almost unexplainable, the Arizona Cardinals with
Dude,
Josh Dobbs.
you know what I see here?
Josh Dobbs goes in and just takes care of business with the Cowboys.
It's the same, dude. Like I said just a second ago, Leopards can't change their spots, bro. Like Jaguars, Ravens, Cowboys, they do this every year.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying they're bad teams every year,
Nope.
but they do these stupid little upsets and they play down to their competition. I saw with the Pittsburgh Steelers for years under Big Ben, where they just would go in and they play a team like the 5-11 Broncos or something like that, and they just lose. And I'd be like, what the heck? But teams have these traditions through their head coaches, like these Doug Petersons, these Harbaughs, right? These Mike McCarthys, and they go and do this. It's like tradition.
Yep.
So, like, looking back on it, it makes sense. I wouldn't have expected in 1,000 years the Cardinals to come in and beat the Cowboys, but, like, it makes sense.
Yep, we'll talk a little bit more about the Cowboys here a little bit later in the show. But let's get real quick to the Thursday night game.
Campbell.
The Thursday night game, 34-20, so a 2-touchdown dub for the Lions at Lambeau, right?
Yeah.
At Lambeau Field. Didn't get a chance to watch this one, but I have looked up some information on it. Again, I was laid up, took my NyQuil, sucked my thumb, and laid in bed for about 12 hours.
He was feeling the death there.
Yeah, so I could go to work on Friday. But so Thursday night, to me, it looked like the Lions just flat took care of business.
Yeah, I mean, straight up. I mean, they had at one point like a 25-point lead, 24. Like,
yeah, 27-23. They were up.
Yeah, literally. Like they just dominated Green Bay in every facet of the game. Run, pass. Like, I mean, they just let David Montgomery hit the end zone 3 times, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's understanding how to win a game in the NFL. I've got a big lead. I'm going to try to keep you in front, not give up big plays, eat up the clock. David Montgomery gets 32 carries in the game, which tells you Lions are doing the right things when they're up. We're going to run the football, and kind of ran it down their throat, even though he only averaged about 4 yards a carry. But that's what they want out of David Montgomery.
Yeah.
And he hits pay dirt 3 times.
yeah.
You know, and Goff, you know, one touchdown, one interception, but not a lot of attempts because they got out to that early lead. So managing the football game, good job, Dan
Absolutely.
Campbell and the Lions.
I mean, also just on the defensive end, I mean, straight up, Jordan Love started out the game like 1 for 7 with an interception. I mean, that's huge. I mean, to start out a game like that, like,
Yep.
if you can do that to a quarterback in the first quarter and like a little bit of the second quarter, then you're gonna win football games.
5 sacks, a lot of pressures. That Detroit front looked better than it had the week before. So Detroit goes to 3-1 in that division, in control. Packers fall to 2-2, and Packers, they may be who I thought they were. I didn't have them as a playoff team, and I had them like third in this division, maybe last, which was a terrible call because the Bears are just a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was a dominant performance by the Lions. So
pretty
kudos to Dan Campbell and the Lions going in there and getting it done.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We're going to do the rundown.
Yep. Let's
do the rundown.
Let's pick up the week, and let's do this. All right. Starting off, Falcons at Jaguars.
Okay, this is across the pond, so early morning Sunday NFL action, which is always enjoyable. Nothing I like more on Sunday morning than getting up, turning on the TV, and having an NFL game.
Awesome.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are familiar with this trip. This playing across the pond, playing off time, had a couple real bad weeks offensively. I think they bounce back, but it's still going to be a close football game. I'll take Jacksonville.
I'm taking the Falcons. This is just a game where it's like, I think that, like, you know, the Jaguars might be used to this trip. They've been there a couple times, but these players have been in a rotating door. That's how it is in the NFL. And I think no matter how many times you fly to London, jet lag's still jet lag.
Yep.
And I think that both these teams are going to be jet lagged. So this could be a toss-up between either team, but I just kind of like the Falcons to come in here and finally, like, put their foot down and get another dub.
I see the Sunshine and Ridley connection coming out here. They've got to have been working
Maybe.
on that. They've got to have been working on that in the film room. They got to get, their good players open. You've seen some slow starts by receivers like A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, and stuff like that, and they finally start making that connection.
Slow start for A.J. Brown.
Now it's time to last week he had a bunch of catches for 131 yards. Well, and Jamar Chase starts going off, and they finally find that connection, right? So it's time to find that connection. Get the ball to your playmaker, Sunshine.
Absolutely.
All
right, next game, Rams at Colts.
I'm going to take the Rams. I like the way the Rams are playing so far. I know they've got a couple losses, but that's a San Francisco and on the road at Cincinnati. They did go up to Seattle and win a big game. Colts coming off a big win. Richardson back, which I'm not sure really helps them, to be honest with you. Mad play on both sides of football, or out of both quarterbacks, to be honest with you. But I like the Rams to go in there and get a dub.
Yeah, I agree. I have the Rams in this one. I think their receiving core is just pretty good. I mean, like, just straight up Tutu Atwell, who everyone kind of saw as a reach in the draft a couple years ago, has kind of showed up and proven that he's actually a pretty good wide receiver. Of course, Puka has been a stud.
Dude, he's been great.
Yeah. I mean, if they end up getting Cooper Kupp back and he can stay healthy, that receiving core genuinely could make an argument for the best in the league.
Yep.
And, I mean,
Puka, watching him, his route running's great. His hands are great. He's
I mean, that's just like
really good possession
I think that,
receiver
like, this is my problem with like combine scouting and stuff like that, is it's like as we shift more in the NFL to athleticism, we're kind of losing the fact that what's most important to a wide receiver is those route runners.
Technique.
Literally. And I mean Puka has great technique. Cooper Kupp has great technique. Tutu not necessarily. He's a quick fast wide receiver, but he still has pretty good technique
and hands.
Yeah, and it's like all three of those guys, and the Rams are prioritizing this technique, and it shows why their receivers are doing better. I take the Rams. I mean, just simply put,
all right.
I think they're better offensively.
Next?
Our first crap bowl, Vikings at Panthers.
Bryce Young's supposed to be back. Vikings are better than 0-3 in my opinion.
Agreed.
They are better than 0-3. I'm not sure the Panthers are better.
3-0 offense, 0-3 defense.
Yeah, I agree. So, but I think they've got enough offense to outscore the Panthers with their bad defense. So I'm going to take the Vikings.
I agree. I'm taking the Vikings. Their defense just has gotten worse from last year somehow, and it's just awful. But like, I think that the Panthers just don't have enough offensively to really take advantage of that defense. So I think that the Vikings offense is going to be able to take advantage of most defenses in the NFL, and I think that's the difference.
Yep, agree.
All right, Bengals at Titans.
Bengals were better than the score last week. It ended up 19-16. Rams got a late cheapie. The Bengals defense played outstanding. The Bengals offense wasn't bad. 2 big drops by T. Higgins, a couple false starts around midfield.
Sloppy.
And they probably put maybe a couple more field goals on the board in that game.
Yeah, McPherson missed one, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And the Titans just got beat up by the Browns, so they've spent a lot of week in the ice bath. So I'm going to go the Bengals to go down to get the Titans in a close one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bengals as well. I don't think I see this team starting out 1-3 right now. I think that they're starting to gain momentum. I think that first one will be kind of like a catalyst for more down the road. And I think that, getting 2 in a row in the NFL right here would be huge.
You said it. This might be the game, the home game, Monday Night Football against the Rams that might get this team on track.
Yeah.
Chase and Burrow looked like they got in sync there last week. Higgins was open. He puts up Higgins numbers if he gets those 2 balls in his hands, and it's not typical of him at all. So I think the Bengals offense, getting it out quick, not letting Joey get hit, is a good formula, and I think it'll work against the Titans this week.
Yeah. All right, next game. Broncos at Bears are major crap bowl here. This is like the tank bowl. I think this is the first tank bowl of the season. So
this is a tank bowl, and I don't think the Bears will give in. I think they will play hard. I think Justin Fields will play hard. I'm not sure about the Broncos, and I'm not sure about that locker room and what they believe in this staff that's leading them and how they feel about Sean Payton. I am going to take the Bears to get a win, and that's it. I don't have anything else.
Honestly, I really like the pick. I really do. I was mulling over this game. I was kind of split in between both of them. I really don't even know. I'm not even confident in me taking the Broncos right now.
Right.
I'm taking the Broncos, but this game is like, dude, looking at it, I was just like, both these teams are 0-3. The Bears on paper are way worse than the Broncos.
God, they look terrible.
But like you said, the locker room is like, and the Broncos, they just don't look good at all. Like, the Broncos are just, coming off a 50-point loss is so hard.
50 points in the NFL. Most over-unders sit
That's
right around
sad.
the 45, 46
That's almost the
mark
saddest
in the NFL.
scoring 10.
Giving up 70 in the NFL, man, is just, that's horrible. It's a little bit of a homer pick for me, but I just think, I think Justin Fields has a lot of heart. I think he's still going to try to rally this team. I think he's he's playing for his career.
Yeah.
It's more of a hopeful pick. I'm hoping that the Bears beat Sean Payton and the Russell Wilson, Sean Payton era ends as quickly as possible.
Yeah, the reason I'm taking the Broncos is simply put, the best Ohio State quarterback in the league right now is C.J. Stroud.
That's
and
a fact.
I don't think Justin Fields is that good. And I kind of wanted him to be good. And I kind of wasn't high on him for a very long time in the NFL draft process. I kind of watched a documentary and I saw his attitude towards the game, and I'm like, oh, this guy's going to be good and he's going to study. Yeah. He just doesn't have the ability to throw the ball.
Gamer.
He just doesn't have the ability to throw the ball at the NFL level well, and that's just his problem. And I think that's going to end up biting him in the foot, and I just think that's going to bite him in the foot this game, and that's why I picked the Broncos.
All right, let's move.
Steelers at Texans.
Steelers at Texans. So Texans got a good win at Jacksonville last week. I think this is the first defense of this caliber that Mr. Stroud is going to face, and I think they're going to bring some heat. Again, I talked about the Steelers' defense, and they are not a defense that sits back and tries to keep you in front and bend but don't break. They attack. They come after the football. They want turnovers. They want defensive scores. So I think Mr. Stroud will be tested this week by this defense. I think he's going to make friends with Mr. Watt this week and Mr. Highsmith. So I think the Steelers go in there. I think the defense is just too good. And this puts the Steelers at a sneaky 3-1 if they win this game.
Yeah, I got the Steelers. I've been 0-3 on Steelers picks this year, so let's hope I'm right this time. Or at least I hope I'm right this time. But yeah, simply put, like you said, I think I was kind of like going into this week like very scared of CJ Stroud. And I was about to take the Texans for this game, but then you kind of mentioned it. I kind of like had the revelation of this is the best defense I think CJ Stroud has played.
Yep.
And that's going to be the biggest struggle for him is to kind of adjust to two dominant pass rushers. Yep. And they really only got one really dominant tackle. And I think that it's going to be a real struggle. And I'm not having full confidence in the Steelers for this game. I still am pretty scared of CJ Stroud and what he's done, but I think we're going to see him throw at least one pick this game finally.
Yeah, he hasn't thrown one.
And that's not necessarily him losing the game. I don't think that's a loss if you throw a pick, but I think this is going to be his first pick game, and that's going to be something that he's going to have to step up and, oh boy, I threw a pick. Move forward. I think that's what we're going to have to see out of him.
I think if the Steelers defense can control field position in this game, I think that'll help them impose their
Absolutely.
will. So I like Steelers.
Yep. All right. Raiders at Chargers.
I'm going to go Chargers here. Mm-hmm. I know Garoppolo is in concussion protocol. Not sure if he's playing. And I think the Chargers are getting on track offensively. So yeah. I'm gonna take the Chargers at home.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm taking the Chargers. I like Herbert. I think he's a really good QB. I think their offense is really good. I think their defense is really smelly. I think they're just like the Vikings.
Yeah.
I think that reflected in their matchup that they played. And I think if Garoppolo's out, I think this is. The
Raiders' offense is not good right now as it is, and if it gets smellier, the Chargers offense, as you said, will overcome that poor defense. So
yep, I'm gonna take the Chargers. All right, Cardinals at 49ers.
Yay, Cards 2 weeks in a row, baby. Cards go into 49ers and pull the upset. No way.
Yeah, I was about to say, what the heck are you talking about?
No freaking way. You know what? Great job, Josh Dobbs. Great job, Cardinals organization, going in and getting a dub.
Love Josh Dobbs.
At Dallas. Ran the ball extremely well against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Not so fast, my friend. You are not going into Niner land and getting this one.
No. I don't think you can take two of the better teams in the NFC, two teams that I thought were going to be the major contenders for the Super Bowl, and you just don't beat them back-to-back if you're in a roster like the Cardinals. I love Josh Dobbs. I'm surprised that Gannon has done what he has there, but no, this is just not. I just can't see it. Give me the 49ers, and I just come on. All right, Chiefs at Jets.
Man, this is Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football? This is Sunday Night Football.
Monday.
Okay, whatever.
Monday night games.
They had it scheduled. I found out, I heard on the radio that they have the first 4 weeks of scheduling locked in the NFL, so they don't flex anything, because if this game could be flexed, it should be flexed.
Oh, no, it is Sunday night.
Okay.
I thought they had double Monday night still.
Yeah, I thought it was Sunday night, but
You're
you
right.
know what? You're usually right. I'm usually wrong, so I live with that.
That's not true.
It's the world I live in. The Jets we know they have a really good defense, right?
Yeah.
We know Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, and he really understands how to maneuver in the pocket against these good defenses. I think he just eats film. He just eats it, and he knows what the tendencies are, how these guys attack him, what angles they're coming from, where the holes are, and he just figures it out, right? So could have been a Rodgers-Mahomes matchup, and I know that's what the NFL had in mind. It's not, okay? It's still trying to figure out, are we going to do the Zach Wilson thing, or are we not going to do the Zach Wilson thing? Are we going to pick up? I think they signed Trevor Siemian this week.
Yeah. Dude, I swear.
Why?
I can't understand why NFL teams will look at players in this broad spectrum, right? And then they pick from these veteran guys who have played in the league, who have been proven players that can go out there and win you games and play well, right? Like Carson Wentz.
I was just getting ready to say that name.
And it's
what
like-
is wrong with him?
Trevor Siemian.
Right.
This dude's literally named after a monkey.
Yep.
Like, bro, like, dude, get him off the field. I remember when he played for the Broncos. I had a friend in middle school who was a huge Broncos fan, and we would have arguments on the lunch table. Like, I would say how bad Trevor Siemian was going to be, and he would just deny it. And I'm like, dude, this dude is a certified scrub. Like, why is he getting an NFL contract?
Right. They're bringing him in. I don't think they're bringing him in to start.
No.
So
He's
you're
a
bringing in a
backup.
backup for Zach Wilson when, again, you got to
Go get Joe Flacco.
I don't understand the Carson Wentz thing. I really don't.
Like-
I don't understand the Carson Wentz thing and why we would not be trying to
Yeah,
trying to pick
I
him
just I don't get it. I'm like not a huge like Carson Wentz like, oh, this guy's really good, but like come on, dude. Trevor Siemian hasn't won a game since 2017. Like,
All right, so I don't see the Chiefs losing this game at all, barring like Quinnen Williams landing on Patty Mahomes or something
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah, I have the Chiefs in this game, as a lot of people do, and I know that the Chiefs offense has struggled, but like
yeah,
come on.
the Jets, you can't beat Mahomes and all the Swifties. Sorry.
Oh, dude! Now that Swift is in the crowd, dude, Travis Kelce is gonna go off. I mean, he made the statement by having 69 yards first game she was at, right?
Ooh.
Like, I mean, he made the
That
statement.
is funny.
He made the statement. Now he's gonna show her that, like, hey,
That's
time.
really funny. We won't sit on that one for very long, but that was funny. All right.
all right, let's wrap it up. Seahawks Giants at Giants.
Here we go with my Seahawks team that I've been up and down, up and down, up and down.
Fly birds.
And they look really good one week. I'm taking the Seahawks. I think this is like a 1-point spread or something like
1.5.
that. I don't know. I believe this team is going to be a pretty decent team at the end of the day. Geno and that offense can definitely move the football when they're in sync. And I don't think the Giants have enough firepower to hang with them. And I don't think that defense is playing up to snuff to really shut them down.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I have the Seahawks. Simply put, I think that offense has been kind of clicking a little bit. I hope that defense can finally find something. I know they have injuries, but as much as I like Brian for the Giants, they're still without Saquon.
Yep.
They still have Daniel Jones at quarterback. They don't have any receivers. Their defense
I wish
is
I
just-
had some numbers. I wish I had some numbers with Saquon on the field, Saquon off the field, and
Yeah.
Daniel Jones QBR numbers. I know I've seen them before, but there's a gap there. It's a
is.
big
I
gap
mean-
whenever he doesn't have Saquon on the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I can't. I can't justify a way that the Giants win this game. I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I really like the Seahawks in this game. I think, what are the Seahawks? Do they have 2 losses or 1 loss?
I think the Seahawks are. Let's see, they lost the Rams in Week 1.
I think they've won 2 straight, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I think this team improves to 3-1, and all of a sudden, right? Like
They're hanging around. They're hanging around in the NFC.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to take the division from the Niners.
No.
In no way, shape, or form. But I still think they're a solid football team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They're gonna get that wild card spot, I think. So, All right, let's finally get into our 5 games.
Top
all right,
5.
First game.
Commanders at the Eagles.
Yup.
We picked this one. Commanders are 2-1. Eagles are 3-0. Commanders are probably a little bit of a fake good 2-1. They got their butts kicked last week by the Bills. I mean, they got their butts
They're on a
kicked
rampage,
by
dude.
the Bills. And the Eagles have the real, true Kelsey Swift power couple.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, so
I've
we
seen
got-
a lot of that.
We got DeAndre running behind that big center, man, and they are getting it done.
Yeah.
He had one carry in week 1, and now he's the second leading rusher in the NFL.
Yeah.
So they figured something out with that running game.
I'm so happy they did because I had him in fantasy, and then I was so disappointed week 1. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna suck all year, and then they finally figured it out. And it's like, I mean, simply put, this run game is great, and then when the run game is not good, Jalen Hurts can still throw the football to his two-headed monster in the Slim Reaper, Devonta Smith, or A.J. Brown on the other end.
Yeah, I called him out a little bit last week going into Tampa Bay, and I will eat that crow. But I still don't feel like this passing game is totally clicking.
No, it's not totally.
But this run game is.
Yeah.
8.1 yards per carry in the NFL for Mr. Swift is a huge number, right? So I think the Buffalo won last week a little more with the run than they did the pass. I think Josh Allen's performance against Washington was kind of meh. So Washington's kind of given up the run, actually defended the pass pretty well last week. So I don't think that's probably a bad formula for Washington.
Yeah, and I think, I think the key to the Eagles' success, right, is that football is a game of inches. And with the Eagles, they are one of I would say they're the first team in NFL history that has a philosophy of we have 3 plays to get 9 yards instead of we have 3 plays to get 10 yards. And I think that push play, I mean, I know people are whine, ban it. Stop it. They're the only team that can really perform at an elite level so far in the NFL. If every team could do it, then you'd see it every week.
Yeah,
and teams aren't.
why are you not figuring that out as a head coach? Is it something about Jalen Hurts and who's doing the push?
It's something about Kelsey.
I don't know, man. But they execute the crap out of that play.
It's
the big problem with this game is going to be the Washington offense. They took 9 sacks, Sam Howell, and 15 hits last week.
Baker Mayfield needs to redeem himself
from them. So I'm like, I don't think Washington is going to be able to really move the football effectively against this Eagles team. Dude. They might not have 9 sacks, but I think they're really going to contain that offense. But one thing Washington did pretty well last week was Brian Robinson had 10 carries for 70 yards at 7 yards per carry, and then they stopped doing it, right? They abandoned the run. In the NFL, if that's the formula that's working and you get down a couple scores, you just can't run away from it, right? You got to kind of stay with it. I think they went Sam Howell happy. That is not a good formula for the Washington Commanders to win. Not that I think that would have remedied that game against the Bills, but they do have a good defense. They do have a good front four, right? They can get pressure on Josh Allen, and they did last week, and he wasn't that effective. But the Bills looked like they dominated from a score standpoint.
Absolutely. I mean, just simply put, like everything you said, I mean, Commanders are a little fakey. I like the counter that the Eagles present. I think on paper, this Eagles team is a perfect counter to this team. Mm-hmm. I think that defensive line is going to stop the run game and sack him a lot. Mm-hmm. Sam Howell, that is. And I think that this Commanders team is just going to be overwhelmed. And, I know this is actually at Philly.
Yep.
So I think that doesn't
Philly.
Benefit the Commanders at all. I think the table is stacked against them, and I would be very surprised if I see the Commanders come out with a win.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Eagles in this one.
Yeah, I see the Eagles going 4-0. 4-0. But be careful, Jalen. You threw a couple picks on the road last week down at Tampa Bay. You guys were just that much better than them. So so football, take care of the football, and you'll win the game. So.
Yeah. All right. Game 4 this week is the Patriots at Dallas.
So we had to put this on here.
America's game.
America's game. You got the Patriots and America's team, right? We had to put this game on here just because we had Dallas Cowboys as one of our 3 teams that we thought could go to Super Bowl out of the NFC, and they laid an egg last week. They really did. The key stat in last week's game for the Cowboys to me is they gave up 7.4 yards per carry to the Cardinals.
Jeez. They have James Conner, dude. How do you give up 7.4 yards to James Conner?
There were a couple big runs in there. One of them by Dobbs, I think by another back. That contributed to that. But 7.4 yards per carry. And the interesting thing is, guess who's coming back to Dallas?
Who?
Zeke. So Zeke is back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
house. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Right.
I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, so you're giving up 7.4 yards per carry last week.
Yeah.
Zeke's coming back to that homecoming, and they love Zeke. They will cheer Zeke when he gets on the field.
Yeah.
They will love him. Problem with the Dallas fans, he's not on your team anymore. You can't love him anymore. And guess what Zeke did last week? 16 carries, 80 yards, 5 yards per rush. He's going to be energized, man. I mean, I see Zeke getting 15 to 18 carries in this game. Dallas, don't be hugging up on him. You better hit him, right? You know, so better shore up that run defense and not give Zeke too much love on his homecoming.
Yeah, I think a couple things I'm going to say about that is, first off, I entirely forgot Zeke is on the Patriots. It's just such a stupid thing. It's so weird. Second off, I mean, listen, I would love Zeke to go in here and just absolutely crush the Cowboys, because at the end of the day, Cowboys are no longer America's team because they're America's favorite team. They're America's team because their loss is a win for America. And I think that, like, simply put, if the Patriots can win this game, even though I hate the Patriots, I will be so happy. Like, I would just, I'd be in such bliss.
Let me give you another stat from that game. So they gave up 7.4 yards per carry. You know what Josh Dobbs' passer rating was in that game?
Dude, I don't want to hear it.
120.
Holy crap.
Right? Cowboys, you better shore up that D. And Dak. Damn it, Dak. You threw a red zone pick, man.
Their red zone offense looks awful.
You threw a red zone pick, man. You know, that's huge in the NFL. You can't do it, right? So the Patriots kind of have a nice formula. Jones gets it out fast. He was pressured 40% of the time last week and took 0 sacks. So you know that Jets D was bringing it against them.
Yeah.
Took no sacks, so he gets it out quick. You know, Cowboys are a pressure defense, right? They're going to bring some of that at him. You know, didn't have a fantastic statistical game. I think he was like 5 yards per attempt or something like that. But he didn't take the big sack, worked the field position. Zeke had a decent game. They've got a formula that might go down to Dallas and win.
Yeah, it could. You know, I think just like the key stat for the Cowboys is that you've got to get into the end zone. Their red zone defense, or their red zone offense, just really looked bad last week against a very bad Cardinals defense.
Yep.
And I just think that, like, you've got to step up, man. You've got to find it, and it's Mike McCarthy.
And remember, the Patriots, I know we're only 3 games in, they are the only defense that have contained the Finns this year. They're the only defense that has really played pretty well against the Dolphins. So you got to be careful. Who you got?
I actually do have the Cowboys, though.
Yeah, we hyped the crap out of the Patriots side of the football.
Yeah, just it's a bounce back game for the Cowboys. Could they lose this game? Absolutely. But, you know, like I said, I've seen trends in the NFL for a lot of teams, and I think this is a bounce back game for the Cowboys. This is what they traditionally do. They drop this big, fat stinker, and then they still find a way to finish like 12-5 at the end of the season.
Yeah, they need to win this game. I really feel like they got. I think they go to San Francisco next. Next week
they do, baby.
For a big matchup, right? Big NFC. Who's on top in the power rankings? I really feel like, from an offensive scheme standpoint, the Cowboys need to find their tight end. They're missing Dalton Schultz.
Absolutely.
He's not on the squad
He's a
anymore.
good tight end, too. He was on Houston last year, and he was pretty dang good.
He's not there, right? And they need to find Brandon Cooks and get him involved in this offense. You picked him up. We said it was a nice pickup at the beginning of the season, but you need that compliment, you know, to CeeDee Lamb on the other side or in the slot or wherever you want to line him up. Brandon Cook's a good receiver. You got to find a way to integrate him in the offense and give Dak some good options where he can not, you know, he's not a big chunk play quarterback, but he can work the ball down the field. You got to be able to do that, right? And I haven't heard a damn thing about Tony Pollard. Is he hurt?
I don't think so.
I don't know, man. but you got to get that offense rolling, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think they can. I think they bounce back. I'll take the Cowboys.
All right, moving on. Buccaneers at Saints. Storyline of this game for me is Carr's hurt. Your car is broken down, so you have to turn to Jameis Winston. Their
Right.
offense
I had
is
that written down real big. Winston.
yeah. So Jameis Winston, notable crawfish eater, Steeler too. Jameis Winston is, a quarterback that I had a lot of faith going into last season, and he kind of just laid stinkers. And this Saints offense, in general, is a giant stinker. It's
So
just
far.
bad. It's just,
It shouldn't be.
I mean, so this is week 4, right? So
Yep.
Kamara's back, right?
Kamara is back, and I think that is huge.
I think
in
that's
this game.
big. And
Yeah.
I think that's going to lead to a step up and going to lead to a more comfortable Jameis Winston. Still don't think this offense is going to be really good. But I'm pretty confident that they're going to put up some points. Thing is, though, Buccaneers, their MO is not really offense heavy. They kind of rely on their defense and kind of have this game manager offense. And, they just came off a loss. I kind of like how they've been looking. So this game is a matchup between 2-1 teams. And this is going to be very interesting.
I had to write down why these teams are 2-1. So they're both 2-1. The Saints wins came against the Titans at home and the Panthers. Their loss is to a Packers team that did not look very good on Thursday night. I'll be honest.
They
with
lost
you.
by 1.
The Bucks wins were against the Vikings. At the Vikings, I still think that's a quality win in the NFL. I'll be honest with you. The second win was against the Bears, and their loss is a credible loss. They lost to the Eagles. So I think the Buccaneers are a little better 2-1 than the Saints are right now.
Agreed.
But their run game is crap. They've got Baker, Godwin, Evans. This Saints defense, you've got Marshawn Lattimore matching up with Evans, and that's a love fest, man. They've had their moments on the field.
Yeah.
So QBR rating against the corner, the average is 90. Lattimore's this year,
38.
29 is the QBR rating against Marshawn Lattimore this year. He is absolutely
Dude, he's always been one of the elite
and they
corners
got
in the
Alontae
league.
Taylor on the other side. So that a lot about matchups in pro sports. That turns into a kind of a bad matchup in that secondary.
Yeah.
Where on the other side, the Tampa Bay secondary is a little beat up, but they did get 2 picks against Jalen Hurts last week.
Yep.
So both teams have been kind of winning with defense and not much offense to get to 2-1. I think the absolute key to this game is Kamara being back and Jameis Winston having that security blanket and not having to go out and win the game.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That is a huge, huge buff up for the Saints, man. And, the Bucs are going to struggle, dude. I mean, this offense is going up, like you said, against an elite defense. And this offense, I mean, yeah, it's been this game manager solid, but look at it. They scored 20 points against one of the worst defenses in the league, in my opinion, in the Vikings.
That's true.
And then they went into the Bears. They didn't really show up that much offensively either there. They did, but not how much you'd want to, right?
Yeah, the Eagles had them all out of sync all game.
Yeah, and I mean, I just can't. I can't justify this offense doing enough
Yep.
to counteract what the Saints are going to do offensively to their defense. I just think on paper, this is just a way better matchup and lineup for the Saints. That's why I'm taking them.
Yep, I'm taking the Saints too. I think Kamara being back, allowing Winston to probably play fake a little bit. Olave's been solid in 3 games. He's been over 80 yards in all 3 games. So he's got a nice receiver room there that he can work with. But I think that's the key. I'm taking the Saints.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. AFC North football, it finds a way.
Not our teams.
Yeah, I know. It finds a way into every single one of these top 5s,
God, I hate
right?
talking
Because
about
we've had so many AFC North matchups early. Ravens at Browns here. Listen, Browns, elite defense. Watson looked good last week. Ravens stumbled a lot, but, it's Lamar Jackson, arguably a top 5 quarterback when healthy. Their defense is all right. They've been hit by the injury bug so bad to the point where their strength and conditioning coach should probably never touch the game of football again because this is like year 4 of this happening.
God, man, if I got drafted as a running back to the Ravens organization, I think I'd just him up.
Yeah.
I mean, Gus Edwards is in concussion protocol this week, so
Dobbs is dead.
And Dobbins is gone.
Sorry.
Career ruined. He's gone. So, but let's talk about this Browns defense a little bit. This Browns defense looks like super elite. They gave up 3 points to the Bengals week 1. They gave 3 points to the Titans in week 3.
Gave up 12 to the Steelers.
And gave up 12 points to the Steelers. Now, I'm going to caution you, Browns fans, get too excited. That's a injured Joey Burrow. That offense was totally out of sync. That's a Ryan Tannehill, and that's a Kenny Pickett.
That's a Matt Canada.
And a Matt Canada. We got to get Matt Canada. Made the show. Matt Canada. Anyway, so, but that being said, man, they look complete on the defensive side of the football. So I think this is going to be a tough row to hoe for an injury-laden roster in the Ravens. They gave up the sneaky loss at home last week. They got to regroup off that. It's up to Lamar.
It is.
It's up to Lamar. He had 100 yards rushing in the game last week. You know what I don't think? I don't think that's a formula for the Ravens to win. If he's got a rush for over 100 yards, that means he's getting flushed out of the pocket. Nope. You are out of your passing scheme, and he's trying to make something happen, which he can. But by God, man, you don't want to be taking hits against this Browns defense.
No, you don't, man. You said it. I think that the success in this game is going to have to be Lamar looking good throwing the ball. To condense your statistics down, the Browns are averaging allowing 6 points per game. Which in the NFL, no matter what team you're thinking, if you've done that for 3 straight weeks, no matter how bad the offenses you played are, it's pretty dang impressive.
Yeah. Derrick Henry last week, 1.8 yards per carry.
Falling off.
And Deshaun Watson found himself a little bit last week. And if that starts to happen,
that's scary.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's really scary for our teams. I really don't want the Browns to win this division. But right now, to me, at 2-1, I'm going to say it out loud. Right now, they look like the best team in this division.
Ooh, I mean, I would give you that. I would say their competition has been a little weak, so I'm going to preface that of like, But I think the Ravens are still the team that I would go with. Of course, the problem with the Ravens, man, is just their injuries are so bad that it's like they're just like a walking corpse every year. And I think that's going to fully come up and affect this game. And I think they're going to get the Browns are just healthier despite the injuries that they've had majorly. And I think, just simply put, Deshaun Watson's going to have another good game. Mm-hmm. And I think that this Browns team is going to come away with a win and start out 3-1. So I have the Browns.
I think it's an AFC North competition for the sack title. Between T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett. It's not a competition.
T.J. Watt's going to win it.
Myles Garrett had 3.5 last week. And the left tackle for the Ravens, Ronnie Stanley, may not be playing this week. So I don't care. It's a bad matchup, Garrett against Stanley, in my opinion. If it's the backup, holy crap.
Yeah.
I'll take the Browns.
Yeah. That's a great point. All right, let's move on to the game of the week.
Oh, what a game.
I mean, this is just simply put.
Game.
I mean, we've had some pretty good game of the weeks. We've had some mostly stinky ones. But this one, I think, like, other than what we're going to see next week with the Cowboys and 49ers, might be, like, the game. Yeah. Like, we have the juggernaut offense that has been having every team in the league, according to 49er head coach, right, Shanahan, that everyone's stealing plays from him. We've had this juggernaut offense come in and just pound, right, in the Dolphins, and they're coming into Buffalo against this team that lost week 1 against the Rodgerless Jets, who has looked like crap ever since.
No excuse for that loss. That one's on you, Josh Allen.
Yeah, literally. And they have just looked like they have a point to prove. They have vengeance. They're out for blood.
Rebounded very, very well. Dolphins hang 70. We mentioned it without Waddle last week. Behind Kyle Shanahan and what he's doing with Brock Purdy, is Mike McDaniel like the mad scientist of the NFL right now?
I mean, just in terms of offensive scheme, it's been pretty. I mean, I would agree with you. I mean,
I gave him kudos from adjusting from the Chargers game to the Patriots game.
Yeah.
And I really thought they would whoop the Broncos. I didn't think they'd 70-20 whoop the Broncos. I mean, that's crazy.
I think this is just like, I mean, I've not really seen a offensive scheme like through the first 3 weeks, or like someone who's come in as a head coach other than Bill Belichick, who's still all the way up there with his defensive scheme for the Patriots. But I haven't seen like a scheme on either side of the ball like the Dolphins like be kind of this dominant. I mean, it's just so good.
And let's talk a little bit about the locker room. I've said it about the Bengals locker room the last couple of years. When they start getting on a roll, they just look like they're having fun. We got Tua trying to do Mahomes thing. He's like, no look, shuffle pass. I got you, right? They're having fun, and that breeds confidence.
That's the key to the game,
they think
man.
they can. I mean, I think they can walk. They walk out on the field and they think they can whoop anybody right now.
Yeah.
And the second thing I want to talk about is their team speed. Right? Hill and Waddle, we talked about beginning of the season, but now I'm looking at stats on ESPN saying Raheem Mostert and A-Chain.
Oh, Mostert
they
is
want to
stupid.
say his name. Those two guys are ripping off 21.9 mile per hour runs. I mean, those guys are fast too. They got 4 dudes that are running over 21 miles an hour in the NFL.
Mostert for the 49ers, when he was on the 49ers, was like low-key, like because they just had a revolving door of like running backs that they like to run. He was kind of just like low-key, under the radar, like one of the fastest backs in the NFL. And kind of the like they have their MO, right? Tua's not necessarily that fast. He's kind of just like, I would say, league average in kind of speed in terms of the QB position. So you have a league average QB who's shown that he could be a really good pocket passer and has shown that ability, like Mahomes, to deal it out when he needs to. And then you have all of these cheetahs that just like
everywhere.
And I mean, Tyreek Hill has just shown to me, like, what we've seen when you put him behind an elite quarterback. He's arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, he just keeps doing it. And it's like...
Yeah, we weren't sure we went to the Dolphins, whether it was Tua was going to get him football like he was. He's good. He gets over.
Yeah.
You know, guy that can deliver the football good.
Route running and speed.
So my key to this game. My key to this game. Last week, you know what the Bills won with? Defense and a run game.
Yep.
So they won. They had 4 picks against Sam Howell. Guess what? Tua ain't Sam Howell. And they ran the football. Josh Allen's passer rating, I think, was under 80 against Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, you're the key to this football game.
You've got to step up.
He's got to show up, man. And you got to show up and show in a tough game that you can manage the game, you can make good decisions, you know, and you got to keep up. You got to be able to keep up with this Miami offense, right? So very interesting game to me. The Bills do have it at home. It's early in the season, so you're not going to get that 15 inches of snow, or you're going to get nothing like that. Should be probably a decent weather game. So this is Bills Dolphins. Who you like?
Honestly, this to me is kind of just like the unstoppable force in the Dolphins versus the immovable object in this Bills team. I feel like this Bills team exudes this kind of like, we lost week 1. Now we are out for vengeance, blood, and we are not moving. And I feel like this Dolphins team has just been like, we will run on top of you.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily in the run game, but just like offensive-wise, they are just stomping over everyone. And I think, simply put, this game is just, dude, you could go either way here. I'm going to go the Bills, though.
That makes sense to me. When you watch the NFL seasons and the ebbs and the flows, and you see both these teams would be 3-1 after this game, even though, you know, the Bills kind of have that bad loss. They really shouldn't have lost that game, man.
No.
Both teams should be 3-0 coming into this game. Bills have it at home. I'm talking, and I keep jabbering on because I can't decide in my head which way to go. I'm going to go against you. I'm going to take the Dolphins.
All right,
I'm going to say they keep rolling. I said if Tua was healthy, they'd challenge to win this division or possibly win this division. I said I thought the Bills may have seen their best years and may peaking. So prove me wrong, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong, Luka.
Yeah. I mean, simply put, Josh Allen has the most turnovers in the NFL since, like, I think it's 2018 was the statistic. And I just, like, you know, I'm going to need to see it out of him. I just think this team is out for blood. I think right now, just from what I've seen the last 2 weeks, they exude a confidence that I think, honestly, in my mind, beats every other team in the NFL, even the Dolphins. And I think that, like, this team's confidence is going to be the thing that rises them above the Fins, and I think this is what's going to give them the dub.
All right, moving on. We are heavy on time right now. Do you want to go to the big three?
Yeah.
All right, let's just go to the big three and kind of wrap this
Oh,
thing
no,
up.
we got it. No, we can run a little over.
Right.
I forgot about upset of the week and lock of the
I
week.
was trying to avoid that.
No, we got it. Dude, we need to go a little longer. We did a little bit of a recap at the beginning, right? We kind of skimpered out on you. Okay, starting off, my lock of the week is actually going to be the Chargers over the Raiders. I just think that Jimmy G, even if he comes back from concussion protocol, is not going to be fully healthy. I think really all they have on that team right now is Devontae Adams. I think with the Chandler Jones things, if you've been keeping in the news recently, he's just been arrested in Las Vegas. I think that doesn't help that locker room. So I'm just going to have to say that I think that the Chargers just on paper just better. So.
Yep. Okay, good lock. Good luck. I like it. What's the spread on the game? About 5 or something?
Yep, it's 5.
Okay. So for my lock of the week, I'm going to take the much maligned 2 bad weeks in a row, put it back together, Sunshine and Ridley figure it out. I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is a risky lock.
That's funny because actually my upset of the week is actually the Falcons over the Jaguars.
I love it.
So actually kind of looking at my games, I kind of realized I didn't really have any upsets, but the major one was the Falcons coming into what I would call a home game for the Jaguars in London. So I think that just simply put, this is a this is an upset that I think the Falcons can pull off, and I kind of like them pulling it off. So
I'm trying to look down my line and see if I have an upset, and I'm not sure that I do. I really don't know that I do. I mean, I have probably some really close spreads. The Rams going into the Colts.
Let me see here. I'll help you out a little bit.
Little love. I'm like, I didn't write down one. So.
All right. The VIX.
How about the Bears? How about the Bears? How about the Bears, man? For my buddy Big Squirt, I'm taking the Bears.
Yeah.
The Broncos, and it's because I hate Sean Payton, and I love you, Squirt. So
Yeah,
I'm
all right.
taking the Bears.
All right, now we can get into my big 3. This week was, dude, this is awful.
It's
tough.
tough.
Straight up looking at all the spreads this week, I was like, dude, I can't pick one. Like, well, I picked 1. I couldn't pick 3. So, listen, I looked at it. I analyzed it. Here are my big 3 that I would bet. All right, the first one, right? This one I have, dude, I would take this one. -1.5 Seahawks. Listen, 3-1 Seahawks sounds like a pretty reasonable take right there. They covered the spread last week, right, at 5.5. I just think this is a good one.
I almost took them as my lock of the week. But
Yeah.
I didn't want to piggyback on what you did last week. It was a great call.
Yeah.
Is what I thought. But I do like that bet. I like the Seahawks going in and getting the Giants.
Here's where it gets a little tough. All right. So, bets that I thought were good. I actually think this one's pretty good. I would take -5 Chargers.
Yep. You just talked about that game. Yeah, I like that with everything that's going on in Vegas right now. So.
And then my final one I'm going to take is -2.5 Bengals. So
I love it when you pick my Bengals.
So there were 2 bets that I kind of were on the fence about on which one I wanted as my third pick. But I'm going to go with the Bengals just because I think the Titans are a little worse team than the other team. And I'm going to mention my 2 bets that I was on the fence about. The other 2 bets that I was thinking about. Well, first off, there's Browns and Ravens. I had the Browns at -1.5. Now, I've picked the Browns, or at least, had taken the Browns game as one of my locks for the past 2 weeks, right? And they have let me down, whether it be beating the Titans or, losing against the Steelers. And they're kind of my outside looking in bet. I really still like the Browns at 1.5.
I really like the Browns at 1.5 with that Ravens team coming in beat up.
Yeah.
And
I really
the way
do.
that defense is playing, and it's at home.
Honestly, you know what? I said I give a blazing 3. You know what? I'm going to give a blazing 4. Give me minus 1.5 Browns.
All right,
you know what?
we'll
I'm
put it
going
on
to
the
give
list.
4. We're gonna change it up this week. I'm going to give
Bonus.
4. Yeah,
Bonus.
bonus bet. I'm really confident in the Browns. Browns, if you let me down a third time this year, I swear you will not hear the end of it on the next podcast. No offense to the fans, but this team genuinely just hates me. All right. Anyway, another bet to look at, Rams at Colts is straight up a pick'em game. It's not even minus +1. It's literally at 0. Pick who you want. I'm going to pick the Rams, honestly, but this really is a pick'em game. I just like the Rams a little bit more. So,
Hey, thank you everybody for tuning in. We sucked it up to do this show, but we really didn't want to have a gap. We are still working on a big thing for Sundays with Dad. I'm going to let a little bit of the cat out of the bag. We are working on a live show at a local venue. We think we have kind of the logistics worked out. That will be coming in November. We will definitely give ourselves time to plug that. So you can come out and we can do this live and we have a bunch of fun talking about football, NFL. Let's go.
see you guys.